Okay, thumbs up if you can see my screen. Yes, nice. Well, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are having a super fun workshop called Closing Strong, Mastering the Top 3 Sales Strategies for Year-End Success. If you're not familiar with Digital Undivided, for over a decade, we have increased visibility and access for Latina and Black women founders. We began with groundbreaking research and have since expanded to founder-centric programs, strategic partnerships, and a vibrant founder community. We are not only championing an equitable entrepreneurial landscape, but we also provide women of color at various stages of running a business the space to improvise and innovate. And our initiatives within each pillar reinforce our goal of empowering women of color. With us today, we have improved growth. So improved growth helps businesses increase sales and revenue so communities and individuals can thrive. They genuinely believe that the company has consistent revenue values.
What the fuck
revenues
you
and
doing?
sales. Oh, if you wouldn't mind, please putting yourself on mute. That would be great. Continuing on. So they generally believe that when a company has consistent revenue and sales, it will grow its community. They want to be part of that by helping companies find strong salespeople who can and will succeed. So like I said, today's session is a fun one where we will learn sales strategies for closing the year on a strong note. And our speaker today is Brisa Renteria. She is a dynamic sales expert based in Dallas-Fort Worth, known for propelling entrepreneurs and clients to new heights and success. As the CEO of Improved Growth, she has revolutionized the industry by introducing game-changing sales selection process that ensures a 99% success rate in making the right sales hires. With a background in sales and consulting training, Brisa has honed her expertise while working with the world's largest sales training company. Her passion lies in helping organizations increase their sales by implementing effective sales processes and training programs. Prior to handing it off to Brisa, I wanted to mention that I will be managing the chat, so please feel free to introduce yourselves and chat with your fellow attendees. Additionally, please add your questions to the chat to review during the Q&A portion of the session. You may also raise your hand during the Q&A portion for us to call on you. But remember to keep your questions more general and not specific for all individuals can benefit from it. So with that, I will turn it over to Brisa.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Patricia. It's a pleasure to be here with you all today. I know it's either 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, or 6 o'clock your time. So I know it's after work hours. And so I appreciate you spending those after hour times with me. My goal for this session today is to walk you through the top 3 strategies that you want to make sure that you adopt over the next 17 days that we have left of the year in order for you all to see an uptick on sales. The reason why I'm so passionate about this topic is I believe, and we know this, that historically we have been underrepresented, right? We know that Hispanic-owned businesses, African-American owned businesses, a lot of times we are not given the opportunity to receive banking funds, right? We know, and we've seen the statistics that typically when a minority-owned business goes in and fills out their application to the bank, a lot of times it's denied for various reasons. And so part of the reason why I focus so much on this topic is the fact that I want to teach my students how to be their own bank. Rather than going to the bank and hoping to get funded, I more so want to give you the skills in order for you to be able to not only attract the right prospects, but close them so that you don't need the bank. All right. And so throughout this session today, I'm going to walk you through not only what are some of the mindset pieces you need to make sure that you have as you continue going through a sales journey, but I also want to give you 3 strategies that you want to make sure that you do today in order for you to be able to move the needle as you continue going through this process. My focus for today is focusing on the end of the year. we have 17-ish days left of the year. We have 17 days left of the month. And so I want to give you the top 3 things that I want to make sure that you do today in order for you to start seeing some of that revenue, those sales coming in, so that you can have a strong close and so that you can have a really strong beginning into 2024 as well. All right, so that's my goal for this session today. So with that said, let me move my screen here. I have a question for you all. If you could put this on the chat for me, please. I want you to answer this question for me. And that question is, I could sell more if ... What is that if for you? What's that one thing holding you back? What's that one thing that you're missing that's stopping you from selling? All right, I'm going to give you 30 seconds. If you could please put that on the chat. I could sell more if. What is that if for you all? All right, somebody said if I had more time, right? I get that, right? We're busy going out there and creating all the things and meeting with the people, and maybe we're at the point in which we have clients and now we're in maybe fulfillment mode, or maybe we're busy putting orders together, right? And so the more time I had, the better time I would probably have to sell. Some other things too is if I expanded my team. Yeah, if I could find somebody that did what I did, we would be in a much better place, right? I totally get that. If more people were aware I was here, yeah. If I maybe had the brand recognition, if people maybe knew what I did, if people maybe knew what my product or my service did, we would be in a much better place. So that brings me to my follow-up question. And my follow-up question to you is, what is it that you need, right? And so when you answer this question, I want you to be very honest with yourself, all right? And I want you to think in terms of need, not want, all right? This actually came to me as a revelation last week. My daughter has been sick and she's been home and she's been watching Princess and the Frog. If any of y'all have watched Princess and the Frog, you know how great of a movie it is. If you haven't, you're missing out. But one of the main things that I took away from the movie is there's a portion of the movie where this witch lady that they go to, she asks the people who have been turned into frogs, she'll ask them, what is it that you need? And they're telling her what is it that they want. And they're saying, well, what we want is what we need. It's the same thing. And she's like, it's not the same thing. It's completely different, right? And if you think about it, it truly is. A want versus a need are completely different things. And so when you're going out and you're answering this question, I want you to think in terms of what is it that I truly need, not what is it that you want. Sure, we want more sales, right? I want more revenue. I want more money in the bank account, and that's what we want. But think in terms of what is it that you need in order for you to get there. Mama Odie, yes. I love Mama Odie. Yes, she said that. Dig a little deeper. Yes. All right, so we have one. So I could sell more if I delegated minor tasks, so I would have more time to focus on providing services. Yes. If you're focused, if you are on the day-to-day, if you are stuck on replying back to emails, if you are stuck on sending emails, if you're stuck behind the marketing, if you're stuck behind the fulfilling orders, you have got to outsource some of those portions of it, because your job as the CEO, as the owner of your business, your job is to go out there and grow it. And the best way for you to grow it is you got to go get some sales. All right. So I need bigger back clients. Yes. Right. How do we do more with less? I need an intern. Yes. Funny thing is, I actually started my career as an unpaid intern. I was a 19-year-old. I had just started college. I was doing well in college, and so I wanted something else. And I said, listen, I'm ready to go take my first job. And I started out as an unpaid intern, being an executive assistant to a social media CEO. And that kind of is really the thing that took off for me. So in order for you to need an intern, not only do you win because you get to have someone that helps you in your business, but they themselves, they win too, because they're getting that experience. So if anybody is considering an intern, 100% support it, advice for it, because it's truly going to be beneficial to your business. If I had strategic partners to collaborate with that share the vision and that can complement what I do, yes. If you had the people who are advocating for your business, right? Not only are they advocating for your business, but they are supporting you and helping you get in front of the right opportunities. Those people are hard to find, but once you find them, it makes a whole lot of a difference in your business because you are able to do more with less. So thank you all so much for sharing this. Some of the things that you all had talked about are some of the things that we're going to work on through the session today. As far as time goes, I know that there's never going to be enough time, y'all. But here's one of the things that I want you to keep in mind. I want you to keep in mind that there is nothing more important in your business than generating revenue. Right? And the reason for that is, and I know most of you all have probably seen this, we've all seen the line that says, if you build it, they will come, right? But I think you've probably been in business long enough to know that if you build it, they will not come, right? And so if we know this, if we know that, hey, I've sat here, I've created a product, I've built a business, I've put together a line of services, I have my website up, I have my social media platforms up, yet I'm still getting nothing, then it is up to you to go out and get it, because if you build it, they will not come. And so as the owner of the business, as the CEO of your company, your number one job is to go out there and generate revenue. That's the only thing you need to be doing. And so when you think about lack of time, there's always going to be things that are going to get on the way. Marketing might get on the way, people issues might get on the way, legal aspects might get on the way, and those things are vital to your business. But the one piece that's going to keep your business alive is your revenue, right? Mark Cuban says this often in Shark Tank, for those of y'all that watch Shark Tank. And one of the things that he often says is sales solves all problems. And it really does, right? If you go out there and you sell enough, not only do you have the opportunity to be your own bank, but it solves the issue of cash flow. It solves the issue of, do people really want this? Do they really need this? We don't know unless we're going out there and selling it. And so when you're thinking in terms of time, I want you all to be very intentional about mapping out time that's specific to just selling. You have got to put sales generating activities on your calendar. Everything else is going to get on the way, and everything else is important, but it doesn't matter unless you have money, revenue, sales, cash flow coming in. All right. So with this notion, I want you to keep in mind another rule, and that is the first law of motion, right? We all learned this during physics back in high school, is when I learned it. And the first law of motion says a body in motion remains at motion, or a body at rest remains at rest unless acted upon by a force. So in simple terms, this is what it means. If at rest, it will stay at rest. If in motion, it will stay in motion. And it's the same thing in sales, y'all, right? I want you to think about sales. I want you to think about generating revenue. I want you to think about all of these things as you swing in on a swing. What needs to happen when you are on a swing? What happens when you first sit down? Nothing happens, right? You sit on the swing seat and you're still. And so if you want to go out there and create that momentum when you're on the swing, what do you have to do? You better start kicking those feet, right? You got to go up, you got to go down, you got to go up, you got to go down. And over time, the more you continue building this momentum, right, you're going to see some movement. And so it's the same thing in sales, right? So if we know that if we build it, they will not come. If we know that we don't have these people just ready to give us their credit card number, then that means that we need to do something different, right? That means we need to go out there and build the momentum so that they will in fact come to us. And the only way to do that is if I start moving. Nothing moves unless you move, right? Objects in motion will remain in motion. Objects at rest will remain at rest. And so if you're sitting there and you're looking at your numbers and you're saying, oh my gosh, I have nothing either on my pipeline, nobody's coming through our website, nobody's coming through our social media, nothing's moving, Well, you better get to moving so that you can actually start seeing some of that momentum, because it's not going to come from out of nowhere, right? It's going to require you to kick up your feet and start making that momentum. All right. So with that first concept out of the way, I want to introduce you to a concept that has changed my life in moments in which I have found myself stuck, right? In moments when I have found myself demotivated. Maybe I had a ton of deals in the pipeline and nothing closed. In moments where I felt like I needed to do something different, I always go back to this one concept. And this one concept is the success triangle. All right. I actually learned this from the company that I used to work at. And essentially, the success triangle says these are the top 3 things that we need in order to be successful in life, right? Whether it's sales, whether it's marketing, whether it's working out, whatever it may be. Success is made up of 3 things, all right? And those 3 things are your attitude, how you feel about something, behavior, what you do, and technique, how do you do what you do? All right. So success is made up of those 3 things. And I'll repeat it again. Success is made up of your attitude, how you feel about a certain thing, behavior, how you do the things that you do, and then technique, how do you do the things that you do? Okay. And so in the chat, I have a question for you. Which one out of the 3 would you say is the most important? Is it attitude? Is it behavior? Or is it technique? Would love to hear. Which one do you think it's the most important? Attitude, behavior, or technique? Behavior, okay. Attitude, everything starts with the energy you put in and out. All of them. Yes, all of them. Equally attitude, then behavior, then technique. Okay. Behavior. Okay. Couple more. Behavior, attitude, or technique. Attitude, mindset. Yeah. Attitude. So y'all are actually my first group that's pretty much half and half, right? A lot of y'all are saying behavior, but then also a lot of y'all are saying attitude. Typically, when I ask this question, people tend to swing one way or the other. Either it's all attitude, or it's all behavior, or it's all technique. All right. And as one of our attendants said today, it really is all of them, right? But there truly is one that's going to be the catalyst of movement for all of these things. Now, typically, when you go to a session, we typically hear that attitude is the most important, right? Oftentimes we show up, we go to a workshop, we go to a webinar, and the speaker oftentimes talks about how the fact that our attitude needs to be there in order for us to be successful. And that's true, right? Our attitude definitely needs to be there in order for us to be successful. However, attitude is fleeting, right? Meaning one day I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be super motivated, and that's going to be great. But then maybe the next day I'm going to wake up and I'm not going to be feeling it, right? For whatever reason, either I have a 4-month-old at home, y'all, and she's still not sleeping through the night. So that makes me grumpy in the morning a lot of times. And so if I base what I do based on how I feel that day, then some days I'm not going to do anything because I'm just not feeling it, right? And so although attitude is important, it's fleeing because sometimes it is out of my control. And if I am basing my behavior based on how I feel, then some days I'm not going to do anything, right? The thing about behavior, right? Behavior is the most important because it's the only thing that I can control. All right? Behavior is the most important because it's the only thing I can control. I cannot control the fact that my kid has been waking up at either 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. every single night the last 2 months. I can't control that, right? And so that makes my attitude not great. But I can control the behavior, right? I can control how I react to that certain piece. That's where behavior comes in, right? And so when it comes to success, we say that behavior is the most important because behavior is the only thing that you can control. And it's the one piece that's going to change everything else within this formula for success. Meaning, if I do the behavior, my attitude about that particular behavior will change. And over time, my technique is going to get better because I did the piece that I can control. All right. To paint you a real world example, working out. All right. I have a goal. I have to lose 15 pounds between now and March. That's my goal. All right. And let's pretend that I work out. I don't right now, but let's pretend for the sake of this example that I do. Right. And so say that I have a goal of 15 pounds between now and March. And say that the goal that I have is I have to wake up at 5 a.m. every morning, put my clothes on, drive myself to the gym and go to the gym, right? Now, when the alarm goes off at 5 a.m., how do you think I feel? Mind you, I have a 4-month-old that doesn't sleep through the night yet. She wakes up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and my alarm goes off at 5. I don't feel great, y'all, right? I do not feel great that my alarm has gone off at 5 a.m. It's like 30 something degrees outside. The last thing I want to be doing is going to the gym at 5 a.m., right? Therefore, my attitude about that certain piece is not there. But say that despite my bad attitude, I still drag my butt over there to the gym and I get on the treadmill. By the time I get off the treadmill, how do I typically feel? Well, you typically feel good, right? Because you did the things that you can control. I still didn't like waking up at 5 a.m. I still didn't like going out there in a 30 degree weather. I still didn't like driving all the way to the gym. But by the time I got off the treadmill, I felt better. And so that bad attitude that I had, right, got better because I did the piece that I can control, which is get dressed, get your butt in the gym, get on the treadmill, get off, right? And what's going to happen is over time, the more I continue doing that, my attitude about that certain behavior is going to get better. Day one, I'm going to hate it. Yeah, it's going to happen. But over time, the more I continue doing it, over time it's going to become a habit, right? And I'm going to get used to waking up at 5 a.m. and I'm going to get used to going out in 30 degree weather. And then also what's going to happen is over time, my technique is going to get better, right? I'm going to get faster. I'm going to get more endurance. I'm going to last longer on the treadmill. And I'm going to start seeing the results of losing weight. And so it's the same thing for sales, right? Think about if you and your business, if I always like to give this example because everybody hates cold calling. I feel like you have to be psychotic in order for you to like cold calling to a certain degree. But let's use cold calling, right? If you happen to do this for your business, most people's attitude about cold calling is pretty terrible, right? The attitude's not there. And so if I'm basing what I do based on whether I like it or not, then of course I'm not going to do it. But say that despite not liking it, I still make myself do it, right? And I set a goal for myself to make 20 cold calls. After I finish with the 20th cold call, how do I feel? I feel better, right? And I feel better because I did the thing that I can control. And so my attitude about that certain piece, it's going to change over time, right? Because today I may not like it, but I'm going to do it long enough to where I am going to like it because I'm going to see the results from it. And then over time, my technique is also going to get better. All right. And so as you're going out and you are building your business, sure, we want to talk about attitude and we definitely need to make sure that we are in the right headspace. But if you find yourself stuck, right? Say that you've tried to work on your attitude, but you still can't shake it. I want you to focus on your behavior because your behavior is the one piece that's going to change everything else. It's going to change your attitude and it is going to change your technique over time as well. All right. And so I set these up to give you the 3 strategies that you want to make sure that you adopt over the next 15, 16, 17 days that we have left. All right. And so let's kind of recap some of the things that we talked about up until this point. First thing, right? First thing is objects and motions remain in motion, objects at rest remain at rest. And so if we want to go out there and build that momentum, if we want to go out there and create that change, then that means we better get to moving. And the thing that's really going to influence our attitude and our techniques and whether or not we're actually getting results is us moving, doing the behavior. All right. And so I want you to walk away from this session today knowing that knowledge is worthless, y'all. Knowledge doesn't mean anything. I have worked with a lot of companies who know a bunch of stuff. I have worked with a lot of salespeople who know a bunch of stuff. But knowing doesn't do anything. It's executing that makes a whole lot of difference, right? And so today I'm going to give you a bunch of knowledge, right? But the thing that I want you to walk away with the most today is that knowledge means nothing unless you sit there and execute on it. So let me walk you through the 3 strategies that you want to make sure that you adopt over the next 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks that we have left in order for you to be moving the needle in your revenue. The first thing that I want you to do is I want you to ask for a referral. All right. We're going to go back to basics. You're going to find that a lot of the pieces that I'm going to share with you all today is going to be very basic, but at times that's really all you need. I feel that a lot of times most people stay away from the basic pieces because they feel like they need a more advanced strategy, when in reality, all you really need to do is go back to basics. All right. And so the first thing that I want you to do, especially today, tomorrow, whenever you go back to the office, is I want you to ask a referral to anyone and everyone. Now, preferably customers, right? Because they've already seen your product. They've maybe already experienced your service. And so they are people who are a whole lot better at giving you those referrals because they've already gone through the experience of your product or your service. Okay. They are the best people to ask for a referral. When you are asking for the referral, I want you to focus not on what is it that your product or service does. I want you to more so focus on what is it that it fixes. Most people, when they are talking about either their product or their service, they're more so focused on the benefits and the features of it. People don't care about features and benefits. They don't buy based on features and benefits. They buy based on what's the problem that I have today, and do I see your product or service as a solution to those problems? And so when you're asking for those referrals to your network, I want you to focus on telling those possible referral partners what problems does your product or service fix, so that as they're kind of going through their mind on the network, the people that they know, they're better able to give you a more qualified referral based on some of the pain points that you're helping companies with. For example, for me, right? Typically, when I'm working with a company, and say that I'm talking to our referral partner, we're sitting down, we're having coffee, we're talking about our businesses, I could sit there and talk about all the things that we do, right? I could sit there and say, we do sales training, we do sales consulting, we do sales selection, we do all those things, right? That's the what. But really, when I talk to referral partners and you want to make sure that you do this for your business, it's all in terms of what problems are we fixing. So typically a good referral for me would be someone where sales are down. Maybe they've tried doing a bunch of things over the last 12 months. Maybe they did a bunch of launches. Maybe they gave out a bunch of discount codes. Maybe they launched new products, new services, but nothing worked. Those are great people for me. Or maybe it's a company who maybe they have a sales team of, say, 10 salespeople, but only 1 or 2 are doing well and hitting their targets, right? And so at that point, right, now that I've told you the pain points that I help companies with, my referral partner can now think back at some of the conversations that they've been having, and they can much quicker and more give me a qualified lead because they've been having conversations about that. Because typically when they sit there and have conversations with their clients or with their friends or with their family, they don't necessarily talk in terms of, I need sales training, I need sales consulting, I need sales selection training. They're more so talk in terms of what's hurting in my business. They're more so sharing things like sales are down, we can't seem to get funded, we launched all this stuff and nothing really came through. That's how they're talking with their network, right? And so I want to be able to meet them where they're at based on the conversations that they're having. And so it's the same thing for you, right? I want you to focus on what is it that your product or service fixes, not necessarily what is it that it does, because nobody cares about what it does. What we do care about is what's the problem that you are fixing. All right. You want to be the painkiller, not the vitamin in your business. Okay. The other piece that I want to give you is I want to give you an action item. All right. I want you to go to the office tomorrow and I want you to implement some of these stuff. And so the action item that I challenge you to do for tomorrow is I want you to ask 2 customers and 2 referral partners for a referral. You would be surprised how many times you can do this and how many referrals you will actually get, especially when you're asking customers. Because if you're asking customers for a referral, these are people that already know you, that like you, that have experienced your product or your service. And not only that, people inherently want to help other people, right? And so if you were to ask this question, you would be surprised how many people are actually going to give you the referral. So that's strategy number 1, is I want you to ask for the referral. Strategy number 2 that I want you to do over the next couple of weeks, and I'm going to give you an action item for tomorrow, is I want you to share what you do, right? I want you to share what your product, what your service does. But again, I want you to share the extent of what problems are you fixing, but I want you to share it with your friends and family. All right. So the first strategy is I want you to ask for a referral from a customer, referral partner. The second strategy is I want you to share with friends and family what is it that you do. All right. You would be surprised how many people within your close circle of people you truly know that can buy what you sell, right? It's just that a lot of times we just don't ask. We don't ask the question, right? A lot of times we kind of keep things to ourselves. If you're like me, right, I know sometimes it's hard depending on kind of how your family's set up. But for me, I'm the first person to graduate college in my whole family. And so the concept of a network, the concept of selling business to business doesn't necessarily make sense to my family because they haven't been in those circles, right? And so I know firsthand the challenge that might be there when you want to share what you do with your friends and family. I honestly, to this day, I don't think my mom knows what I do. I try to explain it a bunch of times, but she's like, oh, you do sales. Yes, I do sales. But my point in you sharing with friends and family is 1, you never know who knows who, but then 2, right? Your friends or family are essentially your salespeople too. You want them having a general idea of what is it that your service or your product does, so that as they continue having conversations with their family, with their friends, with other people, they're able to advocate for you, right? They're able to say, hey, actually, this person needs what you sell. Or I was talking to this lady at Target and this is what they needed, right? And so the more people that you can tell and share what you do so that they can become your salespeople, the better, because you're able to expand your reach. Okay. If you are like me, again, and say that you don't necessarily have family or friends in that space, LinkedIn is your friend, y'all. LinkedIn became my friend because I was able to easily reach those people that not only needed what I had, but there were also clients, there were also referral partners, there were people who I met on a business setting that eventually became friends. And the more I'm able to tell people about what I'm doing, the more they are going to keep their ears to the ground and refer people to me. And so what I want you to do, depending on what you're selling, right? And LinkedIn may not necessarily be your platform. However, I do want to tell you that as the CEO of your business, you should be on LinkedIn. All right. You might be on Instagram, you might be on Facebook, and if they're making you money, keep doing it, right? but I do want to urge you to create an account on LinkedIn and start using it, because that's where you get to communicate with other CEOs, with other business owners, with other presidents, and you'll find that those conversations are a whole lot different. It's the only platform out there right now that's able to connect you to other CEOs. Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, they're great at getting you in front of consumers, and we definitely want to do that because they're the people who give us the revenue that we need, right? But in terms of how is it that I keep up with some other things in the industry? How do I keep up with some of the conversations that other CEOs are having? What about things that they're doing? LinkedIn is your friend, all right? And so I find that CEOs attract other CEOs. And so you want to be in a platform where you are able to find other people that do what you do. All right. And so with that same notion, right, when you go out there and you create a LinkedIn or you become more active on your LinkedIn, I want you to create a post in which you talk about the pain points that your product or service alleviates. All right. I want you to talk about what is your company, why did you create this company, and most importantly, what are the pain points that you're seeing that your product or your service is fixing for your customers. And most importantly, I want you to keep it simple. All right. Simple is better. Again, my biggest thing is less is more, and less is really more. I feel like at times, and I know I used to do this at the beginning too, is, you know, it's easy to want to use all these big words and get all business-like with it, but people want to have a conversation, right? So keep it simple in terms of what pain points are you fixing for people. And so the action item that I want to urge you to take action on tomorrow is I want you to create a post on your social media platform sharing the pain points you help your customers with. What are those pain points? If you have a product, what are those pain points that your product alleviates? If you have a service, what pain points does that service alleviate? You want people to not only understand what problems are you fixing, but you also want to get people to a point where they see themselves having those problems. Because if I were to pick up the phone and tell a CEO, I typically work with companies who have had no sales, they've tried to launch over the last 12 months and they haven't been successful, and they find that the people they have on their team are not the right people, right? I am getting that person in the headspace in which all they have to do is raise their hand and say, actually, I'm struggling with revenue, our sales are down, right? And at that point, I have taken somebody who might be good for me to someone who I know is good for me because they have told me that they have a problem that I can help them fix. And it's the same thing with your product or your service, right? You want to be able to get them at a point in which not only do they know what problems your product or service fixes, but you want to help them get to a point where they see themselves being in that situation and raising their hand to the point that they're willing and able to have a conversation with you about fixing those problems. All right. So that's action item number 2. Create a post, talk about the pain points, and share it with your friends or your family. All right. The last strategy that I want you to do tomorrow that I want to talk about is I want you to reach back out to your past prospects. Anyone that you talked to over the last 12 months. Maybe somebody just reached out to you and they said, hey, I'm interested in this. Can we have a conversation? Or maybe they emailed you and they had a question about your product. I want you to go back to them and I want you to try to create a conversation again. So I want you to create a list of potential customers you've talked to in the past that didn't close. The ones that are going to be hotter are going to be the ones from this year. All right. But I want you to go as far as the last 3 years. All right. I want you to go as far back as 3 years. The hotter ones are going to be over the last 12 months. And what I want you to do, right? And this might make sense. It might not make sense for your business, depending on what you're selling, at what price point you're doing it. But I want you to I want you to set a conversation with this person. All right. If you are selling a product, I know that a lot of times it's easy to go back and forth on email. But if you have had a conversation with this person via email, chances are they might be open to having a quick conversation with you on the phone, right? And so what I want to have in that phone conversation and that appointment, I want to have a better understanding as far as, one, Did they fix their issue? And two, what is it that's stopping them from moving forward with your product or service? Right? So I want you to once again truly understand, hey, at the back in March you had this problem. Back in March you had inquired about our product. You said you were interested in this, but you never moved forward. Question number one, has the problem been fixed? And then question number two, what is it that we missed that stopped you from buying? That information is so valuable to you all, especially going into next year, y'all, because you can do something to fix it, right? And so going back to those prospects is not only do I want you to do this for the potential of more revenue, but I also want you to do this for the potential of more information that you can fix now that's going to help you have better and stronger conversations going into the next year. Okay, so information is good. So again, in that conversation, I want you to talk about what needs to happen now before they wrap up the year, and what are some of the things that maybe you need to do differently in order for you to be able to move the needle and maybe get them to the point of buying. Okay, the action item that I want you to do on this is I want you to reach out to 5 past potential customers that you had. Again, preferably the ones who had reached out to you over the last 12 months. They're going to be hotter because they've been with you for 12 months, less than 12 months. So they had a conversation with you less than 12 months ago, but you can go as far as the last 3 years to get that information. Okay. So to recap, 3 strategies that I want you to adopt. All right. First one, ask for the referral. 2, I want you to share with friends and family. And 3, I want you to go back, look at your pipeline, look at your systems, and I want you to pull all the people that said they were interested, reach out to them and see you can start a conversation once again. And then the last thing I want to leave you with is, once again, if you want to go out there and build that momentum, you got to move, right? Think yourself as that person being on the swing. You sit on the swing, nothing happens. You got to start moving your legs in order for you to start creating that momentum. And once you start moving, right, everything else start moving, and your attitude and your technique eventually gets better. Thank you all so much for joining me today. We have time for some questions. What questions can I answer for you all?
Pamela, I don't know if you want to come on mute, off mute, but I know you had a couple of questions in the chat. I don't know if Pamela's still here.
Yeah, hi. Just thank you so much for this information. It's really, really great, and these exercises, I could definitely see how they will assist. The first one was just some clarity on what you mean by referral. Is that are we asking them to just share our the information with someone when they're in another space, or are they trying to put something on Yelp? Just like what do you mean by referral? Like, what is the medium of the referral? And then okay, sorry, go ahead. You can answer that one.
Sorry, to answer your question real quick, I would say both. All right.
Okay.
So I would go on Yelp, right? And I would ask someone to either give you a recommendation on Yelp so that you can have that review, and or 2, you can go direct to someone and say, hey, who do you know that might need this? Right? And it's as simple as that, y'all. It's as simple as either a text or an email or a call, where you just ask, hey, who in your network, who in your group of friends, who in the group of people that you know, who do you know that needs this? This is the problems that it typically fixes. Who do you know in your network?
Got it. Yes, thank you. And then the other question was just related to the pain points and trying not to come across as like everything in the kitchen sink. Just any tips on, if you have a consultancy that covers multiple disciplines, then which pain points do you pick for this exercise and in general to really, because you said we're not focusing on what we do but what we solve. So there's a few things I could solve.
What do you do, Pamela?
Well, I'm a writer, so I do fund development, but my consultancy is in strategic planning and community organizing. And so I've taken on various projects that really runs a gambit. I just got finished doing a stakeholder engagement project that was collecting feedback on basically a beta test of an application, right? That was focused on conservation. I have another project coming up that's focused on community growth in the city. So and really mending police relations. So it's different things that I could solve. But it really depends who I'm talking to. And I have both nonprofit and for-profit clients. So
Yeah,
just any tips
that
on that.
one, I would love to have a off-site conversation where we talk about how do you keep your head together with
Yes.
everything else you got going on. But to answer your question, so it does sound like you have a lot of different things going on in your business. And so the first thing that I would think about for you is I would think more so in terms of what is it that people need today, right? How do you get people to have that urgency for them to want to have a conversation with you, book an appointment, pay you some money today based on those several things that you're moving with? And so it's very hard to do that when you have three different things that you're focused on. But I would focus more so on what is it that people are interested in right now, so that you're better able to have better conversations. Did I answer your question?
Yes, that's very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good question. Other questions?
Yes, Mimi.
Sorry, y'all. My kid has tapped out on the 60-minute. What other questions do y'all have? Great questions.
I can jump in. So I was happy for Pamela's question because it's helpful for me as well with my various moving parts. One thing that I think would be helpful is in reaching out to folks, because I have so many moving parts, it's like, what is the right balance and timing? Like, I don't want to hit people up with 50 million things at once. And so finding that right balance and that right pace is what I'm trying to figure out. And so I'm in the collective impact space and very specifically focusing on a collective impact from the diaspora towards Haiti. And so my question to you is, in trying to create that sense of urgency that will strike a sale, what can you recommend in terms of pace and timing for getting people to, either buy the products that we're exporting out of Haiti, for example, just to give you something tangible that we're doing, or the other thing that we're doing is selling weekend trips to New Orleans, where we can focus on the Haitian heritage that exists there. And then just project management consulting. Like, those are three very different things that are interconnected, and what is the right balance and pace of going after people to get them to buy in?
Yeah, good question. Who is your target market?
I'd say professionals, executive, people that have disposable income, that have like a natural affinity to this culture and just don't have the time nor the energy to focus on it. So I make it easy for them to give back.
Okay. What's the benefit to them to engage in your services and your products?
It's all about what speaks to their hearts at the end of the day. These are people that are high-level executives, but somehow I'm able to get them to show up to meetings at 7 p.m. on a Saturday night because it speaks to their heart, to their passions.
Yeah. Last question, why would they want to do this between now and the end of the year?
Why would they want to?
Yeah, why would they want to engage in your products or services between now and the end of the year?
I'd say because there's been a lot of talk about it for a while. And now it's okay, all these talks have been happening. We know the political crises happening in Haiti. Let's close the year out, right? So that 2024 we can start on a stronger path. I mean,
the biggest thing that stands out to me, and could you pronounce your name for me, please?
Regine.
That's beautiful. Regine. So the
Okay.
biggest thing that sticks out to me based on what you shared is why would they want to do this? Especially how do we go about creating that urgency, right? How do we go about maximizing the last 2.5, 3 weeks that we have left of the year? I think a big part of what I heard you say that I think you might be able to leverage to create that urgency is the fact that them investing in these types of experiences and products would not only make them feel good, but it's a way for them to be able to support a community that doesn't necessarily have what we have, right? And so there sounds like there's some social impact to what you're selling too. And so if you were able to create that urgency in the sense of, hey, spend the last 2.5 weeks giving back and really investing some of your time back into communities like this by buying these products or those services, that's more likely to get people to take action than just go to this event, right? People, especially now, people are more attached to the social cause behind the business than what is it that they're actually selling. Like for me, for example, we give back 5% of our sales to Wipe Out Kids Cancer. It's a cancer organization here in the Dallas area where they help kids with cancer go through treatment and all the other aspects that go along with it. Because that's part of what we do in our mission. And I'm passionate about it because I've gone through the journey myself. That has attracted some clients to us because of that, right? So people are attracted to our brand because of the social component of it. So in what you do, I would lean more so into what's the social aspect? What is it that you're trying to fix, and how can your potential prospects see themselves in helping fix that and be a part of that, than more so just the product or the service that you're selling? Does that make sense? Did I answer your question?
You answered it so well. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Beautiful name, Regine. Love it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Other questions? Was I that good, y'all? Just 2 questions?
Anybody else? You can go ahead and unmute yourself, or you can also put it in the chat.
Yes, you've got some homework, y'all. You got some homework. Remember, to create that momentum, you got to get to moving. It doesn't just happen, right? An object just doesn't stay there still and just somehow it moves unless there's some paranormal stuff going on. But if you want to get moving, right, you got to get to moving, and that's going to take care of everything else. So thank you all so much for joining me. It looks like there's no more questions. Thank y'all for joining me. I hope this was helpful.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you so much, Brisa.
Thank y'all
It was
so
great
much. Have
having
a
you.
good one.
See ya.
Bye.
Thank you so much.